Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem and here is the news. 454 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. President of Ukraine Volodymyr Zelensky visited the front line and met with Marines who marked their professional holiday yesterday. In his evening video address, the president announced that Ukraine will establish a Marine Corps by creating and equipping more brigades on top of those that exist now. The Russian Defense Ministry claimed that it defeated the Russian Volunteer Corps and the Freedom of Russia Legion in Belgorod Oblast, reports Ukrainska Pravda. According to the ministry, formations that fought in the region bordering Ukraine were blocked and defeated by airstrikes, artillery fire, and active actions of the State Border Guard units of Russia. The Russian military claimed that those they did not defeat on the territory of Russia retreated to Ukraine, where they continued to be hit by fire until they were eliminated. The Ministry of Defense claimed to kill more than 70 people, destroy 4 armored combat vehicles, and 5 pickup trucks. In turn, the Freedom of Russia Legion declared that they would continue liberating Belgorod Oblast together with the Russian Volunteer Corps. They emphasized that the Russian army was unable to oppose the Patriot volunteers. At the same time, the New York Times source among Ukrainian officials informed that the units that participated in the operation suffered losses that had no impact on their combat readiness. He added that not a single Ukrainian fighter entered Russian territory during the operation in Belgorod Oblast, as it was conducted only by Russian citizens. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This way more people would learn about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The US Ministry of Defense stated that by taking into account the period of training of Ukrainian pilots on F-16 fighters, the deployment of infrastructure and other components providing Ukraine with this aircraft is part of a long-term commitment, reports Ukrinform. The ministry spokesman General Patrick Ryder said that these F-16s will not be relevant for a future counteroffensive. Ryder also confirmed that the training of Ukrainian pilots will take place outside Ukraine in Europe, and the details of this plan are currently being worked out. Early on Monday, EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy Josep Borrell informed that training of Ukrainian pilots has already started. Later, the Air Force of Ukraine clarified that the training itself has not yet started. Ukrainian partners are only preparing for it, reports Interfax Ukraine. Acting Minister of Defense of Denmark, Troels Lund Poulsen, said that Ukrainian pilots could start training on F-16s in July, reports European Pravda. He estimated that it will probably take up to 6 months before the conditions allow flying F-16 fighter jets from Ukraine. Although several countries such as the US, the UK, the Netherlands, Belgium, and Denmark have agreed to train Ukrainian pilots to fly the F-16s, none of them has committed to supplying the aircraft. The Danish defense minister on Tuesday shied away from making any promises in this direction. Only in the autumn will we discuss the possible transfer of F-16 fighters, said Poulsen. EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy Josep Borrell says the EU member states have already delivered 220,000 shells of various calibers and 1,300 missiles to Ukraine, reports Interfax Ukraine. According to him, spending on ammunition will reach a planned €1 billion by May 31st. Speaking about the second track of support, which provides for joint purchases of ammunition for both Ukraine and to replenish its own stocks in the amount of €1 billion, Borrell said 24 countries have already shown interest in this track. In addition, there are 2 other projects, one is headed by France, the second by Germany. He did not provide the details of these projects. The EU High Representative hopes that a decision will be found this week to unlock another tranche of €500 million in military support for Ukraine. So far, the allocation of this amount is blocked by Hungary, arguing that one of its banks, OTP Bank, is on the Ukrainian blacklist of sponsors of terrorism for its active work in Russia. The official Budapest demands this bank to be excluded from the list. The European Commission announced the fourth package of 1.5 billion euros to Ukraine as part of a microfinancial assistance package for 2023 in the amount of up to 18 billion euros, reports Radio Liberty. The funding is intended to help the Ukrainian authorities continue to pay wages and pensions, as well as keep hospitals, schools, and housing for displaced people running. Brussels believes that Ukraine has notably achieved important progress to strengthen the rule of law, enhance financial stability, improve the functioning of the gas system, and promote a better business climate. The European Commission said this funding will also enable the disbursement of a further monthly payment of 1.5 billion euros in June, reports Interfax Ukraine. The Ukrainian railway operator Ukrzaliznytsia is considering the possibility of launching wagons with women's compartments, reports Liga. Alexander Shevchenko, the deputy director for communications and customer service, said that women, mothers with children under 6 years old of any gender, and transgender women will be able to use women's compartments. At the same time, he noted that this is not the final list of persons because the dialogue on this issue is still open. According to him, the fare in women's compartments will be the same as in regular. Shevchenko added that the pilot project will be tested for several months, after which the railway will decide on its scale based on demand and feedback from customers. Earlier, a petition was registered calling on the railways to create other women compartments or entire wagons. Ukrainian women started to share stories of their experience of sexual harassment in trains, and the petition quickly gathered the needed support. The Highlights from Ukraine podcast is a commercial initiative of just two people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the apps, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we are getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.